I want to be proven wrong. I want the new generations of products to make Ortho-K easier. And
Hmm.
I want the best of all worlds. I want docs I want atropine to be the easy button. And if all you want to do is use atropine, or if that's your starting point, I want that for you. If you want to use my site and only my site, I want that for you. You know,
Right.
if you want to dive deep into Ortho-K, or if you just want to hang out and do like easy fits in Ortho-K, I want that for you.
Yeah.
Either
And there are
way.
doctors have made plainly have models up that works very well for them. Um, I think we don't want doctors to be limited.
Right.
We want them to be able to pull out any tool they want in their toolbox and be able to effectively do that for their patient. And the other thing that we want for a doctor is the fact that they should be the doctor. In
Yeah.
other words, they need to not ask the patient, we've got A, B, C, D, and we'll have J and F and onward. We'll have plenty of choices here. That's not what the patient's in the chair for. The patient's in the chair for the doctor to tell them what they want to do with that. What's the best solution for that patient with that situation with myopia? And that's where I want our doctors to really step up. And
Mm-hmm.
the only way that they'll do that is if they have enough experience. I would have a doctor come into my practice and shadow me, and I'd say we'd have a patient. Or I said, "Well, how would you treat this patient?" And they would list all these ways, which are very credible, but no one would ever say Ortho-K.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Well, why didn't you say Ortho-K?" Well, first off, they're not in the mode I'm in, which is I want to fit. I'm an Ortho-K specialist. You go into a the surgeon's going to recommend surgery. You go into my practice, I'm contact lenses and Ortho-K specific. So
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend that first. And a lot of times the hesitation was because they had lack of experience. They didn't know what the outcome would be. So one of our rising stars. Doctors comes to me and says, we're talking about Ortho-K. He visited my practice, and I said, we talked about limitations of Ortho-K, and he talked about it like a number out there, very high myopia. And I said, well, how can you know that unless you try?
Mm-hmm.
It blew his mind. He had to reevaluate everything because it's true. The good news is you can do this. You do this properly with how you're taught to do with contact lens fitting, all that. You're not going to hurt anybody. You take care of the patient, you fit them properly, and you can find out if you can do this high myope or not, what it takes. I had other doctors look at me and say, "Well, how did you fit this lens?" It was like a -8. I fit. I took this patient. I fit two different brands in this patient, made them both successful. She says, "How did you do that with that one?" I said, "I kept working at it until I found what worked for them." Because I was interested to say, can I do this with this project, which isn't, which plain many people think is not really for high myopia. I did it with that lens too. The thing was, what is that? That's like when we were, first in school, in optometry school, and we had the whole world in front of us, and we could do anything we wanted to do with this potential. That's that potential again.
Mm-hmm.
That potential is within us all the time, and we just lock it up because we're scared to let it out.
Right.
Because if we let it out, God forbid, we might have to figure out how to do this.
If you're interested in getting the rest of the episode, consider becoming a paid supporter of the Myopia Mindset. In addition to an extended version of this episode and every other episode that we do, you'll also get access to exclusive monthly bonus episodes of the Myopia Mindset. And I know you're interested. You've made it this far. You can do so on our Substack, myopiamindset.substack.com. I'll see you at the next one.